right, we're going to do some arithmetic with functions. I'm just going to do 4 quick examples. This is Algebra 2, Semester 1, Unit 2, 2.4, I think, as of 2020. All right, so we were given f of x and a g of x. We're given 2 different functions, and we're asked to add them together. So we're asked to find f plus g. So really, there's asked me f plus g of x. So this is f of x plus g of x. The first step is easy. I'm just going to write my f function down and write my g function down right after with a plus sign in the middle. So I have a 9x cubed minus 12x squared plus 5x minus 7 plus, now the g function, 2x squared plus 4x plus 7. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add my functions, and adding functions is just combining like terms. So we're going to add our functions by combining like terms. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, I'm running out of colors here, so I'm going to circle all my cubes, all my x cubed terms, and that's it. That's my only x cubed term, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 9x cubed, there's nothing for me to add it to, right? Because we can only combine terms that have the same variable and same exponent. So x squared and x cubed are different terms. X squared and x squared, we can add those together. It would be 2x squared. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to circle all the x squareds. And I'm going to include the sign. So here's my x squared, and there's a negative there, so I'm going to bring the negative with it. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. It's a plus sign here, so there are my x squareds. All right, so that tells me that I have a negative 12x squared and a positive 2x squared. Add them up. Negative 12 plus positive 2 is negative 10x squared. And then I'm going to circle all my x terms. So I have a positive 5x and a positive 4x. 5x and 4x gives me a 9x. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to underline all my constants, have no variables with them. I have a negative 7 and I have a positive 7. Well, negative 7 plus positive 7 is going to be 0. So this is actually my final answer, 9x cubed minus 10x squared plus 9x. So I just set them up, combine my like terms, and go. If you have questions, email me or raise your hand if I'm in the room with you. All right, so this one, same idea, except for now we're going to go ahead and subtract. So I'm going to write my f function. Right, so this is f of x minus g of x. So I'm going to start by writing my f function. So I have 3x squared plus 5x plus 12 minus, and now when I do subtraction, I'm going to do one thing different than compared to what I did with my addition. I'm going to do one thing different, and that is after my minus sign, I'm going to go ahead and put a parentheses. So that's the only difference. If you want to get in a good habit, you can put all your terms over here in parentheses too. I could have just done that as well and just put it in parentheses and wouldn't really have changed anything I did. But for subtraction, I have to have that parentheses there. All right, and then I'm going to write the rest of the equation. All right, now, first step here, again, the reason why I had to do the parentheses, for subtraction, this is special subtraction, I need to distribute this negative 1. You're like, wait a minute, Mr. Matt, whoa, what negative 1 you talking about there, silly? And I'm going to tell you is this subtraction sign is really a hidden, invisible negative 1 right there. All right, and then we have that negative 1. We need to distribute it because we have a number outside of a parentheses and it's being multiplied. This is distributive property, so I need to do that. And it's special for subtraction. It's something we have to do every time we subtract. All right, so I'm rewriting this. I have to make this a negative 9x cubed. Negative times negative 4x squared would be a positive 4x squared. Negative 2x now, and then a positive 8. So I ended up just changing all the signs. Not a big deal. How to do it. All right, then I'm going to do this now. After I distributed the negative 1, I go back to the same steps I did over here with the addition problem. I'm going to circle my x cubes. Why am I starting with x cubed? Because it's the biggest exponent I have. So I chose x cubed because it is my degree. The word degree stands for the highest or largest exponent in a problem. Oop, I lost the screen. Hopefully I didn't glitch the screen at all. So the reason why I chose x cubed because it was the biggest exponent. So I always start with the biggest exponent. I go down in order. So I have negative 9x cubed. I got to bring the sign down with it. Negative 9x cubed. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to circle all my x squareds, right? Because 2 is the next number after 3. So I'm going down. So I have a positive 3x squared and a positive 4x squared. It's going to be a positive 7x squared. Cool. Now I need to circle all my just regular old x's. I always bring the signs with me. This is a negative 2x. So I got positive 5x, negative 2x. Well, that's going to become a 3x. And I'm going to underline my constants. So I have a positive 12 and a positive 8. That's simply positive 20. Nice quick hit there. Just remember with subtraction, I do have to put the negative sign there and distribute a negative 1. All right, so we have a multiplication problem. I kind of went into it a little bit here. So this is really f of x times g of x, right? So it's f of x times g of x. So I'm just going to write my f of x equation, which is just square root of 27x times square root of 3x. Now, the square roots aren't going to change anything for me. All right, the only thing I need to know about the square roots is I need to multiply the numbers and the variables and then put a square root over top. So I got to do 27 times 3 and then x times x. So 27 times 2 is 54, 74, 81? I think that's right. So I got 27 times 3 is 81. X times x is x squared. All right, so I got 81x squared. Now, what I need to ask myself is 81 a perfect square? Is this something I take the square root of 81 and I get a number? Yeah, it is. The square root of 81 is 9. What about the x squared? So I can separate this 81x squared as the square root of 81 and the square root of x squared. I can make the square root separate because they're just multiplying, and I can do that. The square root of 81 is 9. The square root of x squared? What times what gives me x squared? X. 9x, and there's my answer. Now, we're going to finish with division. So division's super easy. The domain maybe is a little bit tricky, but it ain't too bad. But the setup for division is easy, right? So it's f divided by g, so we have f of x divided by g of x. Well, f of x is the cube root of 5x, and then g of x is 7x plus 14. So boom, check. That's all I gotta do. For the finding f divided by g, this is it. Now for this next one, find the domain. Back up, what is domain? Domain is all the possible x values in a function. So it's all the possibilities. So in a day, what is the domain for hours in a day? Right? The domain can be anywhere from, I guess, hours like you work or something. How many hours in a day can you work? Realistically, it's a domain that can't be less than 0, so it's 0 until 24, right? Because it's 24 hours in a day. So it can't be any more than 24, can't be any less than 0, because those are the domain restrictions. So for us, it's the x values, it's all the possible x values, and then where's our x located in this? Is we have a x in the numerator and x in the denominator. Now the big thing we need to remember is an x in the denominator has a potential of giving us a 0 in the bottom. Not the x equals 0, but the result of the expression being 0. So I can plug a number in for x here, and when I multiplied it by 7 and then added it to 14, I would get 0. We can't divide by 0. I cannot have a 0 in this denominator. So how do I find the domain? I take a different marker first so it can visually show you. Is you take, and by the way, there's 19 days until Santa. When you're watching this, the number may be different. So I take the 7x plus 14, I pull it to the side, and I'm going to set it to be not equal to 0. And then I'm going to solve it like I would any other function equal to 0 or not. I'm going to solve it the same way. I'm solving for x. What's on the same side as x? 7 and 14. What's the furthest away? 14. What is the 14 doing? What operation? It's adding. What's the opposite of addition? Subtraction. I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides. All right, and then now what am I solving for? I'm solving for x. What's on the same side as x? 7. What is it doing? It is multiplying. How do you get rid of multiplication? You divide. Divide both sides by 7. I get x is not equal to -2. So what I need to do is I need to go back up, because now I found my domain. I need to go up to my little division here. I can just put here, and I just put x not equal to -2, because -2 would create a 0 in my denominator, and I can't divide by 0. It's not allowed. If you need anything, let me know.